So I keep warning everyone that every one of the YouTubers that they like, that YouTuber's time on the chopping block will come, and today's was Black Pigeon Speaks' time. His channel's gone. It's not on YouTube anymore. They have deleted it. They have not given him a reason. They just did it. 500,000 people subscribe to his channel. Undoubtedly the guy's livelihood, and it's just gone. Don't know why either. Obviously YouTube didn't tell him. They don't warn them in advance, and there is no method of restitution if you want to try and cooperate with YouTube. They don't want that, because the problem isn't that you've done anything wrong. The problem is that you're making life difficult for left-wing activists by showing another side of the story. And that is preventing them from radicalizing people into communism. This was his last video, put up yesterday, and as you can see, he was calling out Carlos Maza and also Becca Lewis, who did the Alternative Influence Network. This is them directly attacking a political opponent and media rival. That is exactly what Vox do to Fox News, to Steven Crowder, to all of these other, Tucker Carlson, all of these other outlets. But when it is done to them, they will exercise as much power as they can in order to simply silence you. There was no hate speech in Black Pigeon Speaks' videos. In fact, I don't think he's ever used any hate speech, because his videos are much more polished presentations. He's not speaking off the hip, he's reading from a script. But anyway, on this subject, I'll leave a link to this comment in the description, because it's a list of almost all of the deplatformed alt media producers, and a bunch of them who just are on BitChute now. And honestly, if you're watching this and thinking, oh, come on, it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen, okay? They're eventually going to get rid of us all. So now is the time to go and stop this video, go subscribe to these people. But anyway, Brittany Pettibone apparently noticed this first, and Black Pigeon Speaks has tweeted at Team YouTube saying, "This must be a mistake. My channel had videos on history, urbanism, transportation, travel, festival, as well as political content. Please rectify this mistake, or at least tell me what was the reason." He hasn't been told why, because why would they? Why would they tell him why? They just want him gone. And so we have to rebuild from this massive and devastating attack on BitChute, at least. That seems like the best place at the moment. And it seems like the best place because of the automatic backing up feature of the fact that it automatically backs up content from YouTube. With the owner's permission, of course. You have to set this on your channel. But that means that people can still use YouTube until something like this happens, and then they've got a catalogue of their stuff. And it's going to be really difficult to get rid of because it's sort of BitTorrent videos. Again, I'm a boomer. Leave me alone, right? And this is important because of this article. Caleb Kane was a college dropout looking for direction. He turned to YouTube. It's called The Making of a YouTube Radical. And that's true. There are YouTube radicals being made. But as Caleb Kane showed, he only ever became a conservative and then was radicalized into communism. And they do this using a particular network that I think is worth pointing out. They give us a breakdown of the pipeline into the radical left, and it begins with Destiny, incidentally, who's a sort of centre-lefter. I imagine Kyle Kalinske is also in there. And then he finds ContraPoints, who's quite radically left, obviously, and keeps going down until they find something that he calls BreadTube. Now, this is Communist Tube. It's a reference to the left-wing anarchist Peter Kropotkin's 1892 book, The Conquest of Bread. I've read this. Peter Kropotkin is a radical communist. He was a revolutionary, and he was absolutely not some kind of centrist moderate. And Philosophy Tube is also a communist. These are, and literally he says, he found the British channel Philosophy Tube where he posts videos like transphobia, racism, and Marxist economics. They are packaging revolutionary communism and using and radicalizing young men like Caleb Kane, who's just saying, I was radicalized into communism because I watched some conservatism and that was censored, and the YouTube algorithm promoted loads more far left stuff because the far left had been whining at YouTube, which is how Carlos Maza got thousands of people deplatformed and thousands more channels demonetized, massive channels like Stephen Crowder's, right? This is pretty shocking stuff, and it's not politically neutral, right? And so when Paul Joseph Watson, myself, and presumably Dankula as well, receive an email from the BBC, I think Paul Joseph Watson's right when he says the BBC is about to follow in the footsteps of the New York Times and do a big hit piece on YouTubers. I've got no doubt that they are. I think that this is very dangerous, because I think that they are looking for reasons to deplatform everyone. So, like I said, seriously, go on BitChute, and just as a backup to your favorite alt media channels, and trust me, like, it's not just going to be like right wingers. There are centrist people on this list too, and there are sort of, people who are not really, they're just in the alt political spectrum. They're not even politically, like, they're not even like people who are necessarily taking a side on this stuff. But anyway, I really do think this is wise to do now, since Black Pigeon Speaks had 500,000 people or so subscribe to his channel. They don't care. They're not here for justice. They're not here for fairness. They're not here to treat you like a human being. They're here to treat you like a problem, because the communists are making it this way.